He's like
We
me.
are live. We are live. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll take some few seconds more. Warm greetings of the day to Dr. Vishal Bhadani, the resource person, Dr. Imran Y. Khan, founder of English Language and Literary Studies, Dr. Sabir Parmar, core committee member of ELLS, and to all viewers. It's our privilege to put on air the sixth talk in a row. As we all know, English Language and Literary Studies, a group of English language teachers who are nurturing knowledge, is a group without charging any membership fees. This is a group of English language teachers from KG to PG. The members who join this group have sole aim of sharing knowledge and their expertise on English language teaching. The purpose of this group is knowledge sharing, teaching, and learning. Moving on, let me invite Dr. Imran Khan, founder of ELLS, on dais to welcome the gathering. Sir, if I can, I think Sir is not been able to join today for some technical glitch. So let me formally welcome Dr. Vishal Bhadani, okay, who is our speaker. Sir, it's our privilege to have you on ELLS. We are kind enough and we are being thankful to you that you spared your valuable time and to share your views on this platform. On behalf of Dr. Imran Khan, I welcome you. Not only that, but I even welcome all the viewers who are watching live. I welcome you all on this page of ELLS. Moving further, English language really started with the arrival of three Germanic tribes who invaded Britain during the 5th century AD. These tribes, the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes, crossed the North Sea from what today is Denmark and northern Germany, gradually developed and then bifurcated into Old English, Middle English, Early Modern, and Late Modern English. The most amazing thing about English is that it's still evolving. From the development of local dialects and slang in countries as far apart as the US, South Africa, and New Zealand, and in the cities as different as New York, Oxford, and Singapore, to incorporation of tech vocabulary into everyday English. English is in a constant state of flux. Vocabulary alone is increasing at a pace approximately 1,000 new and approved words per year. And these are not just the words that are considered important enough to get added to the online version of English dictionary. This dramatic increase in the new words is largely due to technology and how people spontaneously coin new words in their email and text transmission that spread quickly and effectively via social media. But what about the trainers of English language? Are they speaking effectively or correctly? To ponder over such questions, today we have an eminent personality to share his ideas on English of English teachers. Dr. Vishal Bhadani is a friend, a philosopher, and a guide to me, has been a dynamic personality. Dr. Bhadani is a director of International Center for Applied Gandhian Studies, Lok Bharati, Sanotra, Bhavnagar, Gujarat, India. He has worked as faculty in English with premier institutes and universities of the state, such as the MSU, IITE, Marwari University, GTU. He wrote and translated textbooks from Cambridge University Press, Gujarat State School Textbook Board, National Institute of Open Schooling, etc. He prepared training manuals for the Finishing School of Program, Government of Gujarat, and learning materials for Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. He trained thousands of teachers and professors across the state on learning, unlearning, and co-learning. As his interest in translation, he translated novels of Dhruv Bhatt such as Timirpanthi and Akupar in English. The sociology textbook of 11th standard for National Institute of Open Schooling into Gujarati. He is also working as a translation expert with Gujarat School Textbook Board and Delhi Sahitya Akademi. Apart from his teaching, he has delivered expert talks at several platforms such as Grand Education Fair, Ahmedabad, GC Gandhinagar, Symbiosis University Pune, Christ College Rajkot, English Department at Sardar Patel University and Bhavnagar University, Sahitya Akademi Gandhinagar, ITI Rajkot, KCG Ahmedabad, and the list goes on. Dr. Bhadani has passion for creative writing, translation, philosophy, and learning processes. Without wasting much time, sir, I would like to invite you for your talk on English of English teachers. Sir, the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, everyone. My sincere thanks to Dr. Khan, Dr. Shabir, and Dr. Udeshi for inviting me and giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my raw and uncooked ideas with all of you. I think it's really important in the time of pandemic to be plugged in for numerous intellectual reasons. Otherwise, we are seriously running the risk of being intellectually deprived. So I am again thankful to Dr. Udeshi for such an elaborated introduction. I feel I am still not worthy of everything that he has said, and for all the wonderful words he shared about me. I'm here to speak about English of English teachers. I was thinking about the subtitle, and something that came immediately to my mind was knock knock. I'm here to, bang the doors of the teachers of English for a number of reasons that I'm going to share sometime soon. Let me begin with a wonderful poem. In fact, not the poem, but the theme of the poem. I recall reading one of the beautiful poems of English literature. It was a simple and yet very meaningful poem that I have ever read. So once there were two trees sitting on the fields, and there was a road passing through them. So normally the traffic was like, okay, so a couple of cars went here and there. So one tree asked the other. He asked that, well, these vehicles are going from here to there in a horizontal fashion, and we are going on a vertical fashion. Are we going in the right direction? So that's where the poem ends. The other tree doesn't answer that question. But that question resonates with all of us. That question has always been there for the seekers to ponder deeply about it. So what is this question for us? So that question is the question of self-reflection. And by self-reflection, I always mean critical self-reflection. Because my first humble submission for the talk is that any discipline or profession devoid of critical self-reflection loses its significance. So in this talk, I'm not going to share any empirical data. In fact, I have this sense of inadequacy, whether am I the right person to talk about it, because for past 3 years I've not been into the direct teaching and learning of English, and to put it in other words, I left academics. However, we as students of English language and literature have always, you know, have this feeling deep down that whenever there's something about English and literature, and we jump to the opportunity, and we like to share our ideas and listen to people discussing. So with that kind of background, I'm here to talk about English of English teachers. So what is the state of the affair about English teachers today? To call a spade, current state of affairs of English teachers and their English is dull and uninviting. From various perspectives, it is seriously a genuine concern. I'm going to raise a couple of questions, and I'm going to dig deeper into what we are doing. Should we do what we are doing, or should we really wake up to the call, and we should be working in the direction of self-critical reflection? So what makes me say such a bold statement that the current status of English teachers is dull and uninviting? For all of you who are teaching English in the schools or colleges or universities, observe a couple of things. Number one, use of question tags. They are almost extinct from our usage. Try to focus on colloquial expressions. In fact, we had a generation of our own teachers who were well equipped with these expressions. When they spoke English, they spoke English. I have this feeling, including myself, because when I say critical self-reflection, I put myself first into it. That's why the title is slightly dicey. I said English of English teachers rather than saying English of the teachers of English, which is more precise. So I have this personal guilt that I am not up to the mark. I don't think I am competent enough to teach someone English for all the reasons that I'm going to share right now. Look at the fillers that people are using during the classroom discussions, during their informal conversations, during conferences, when they are reading out wonderful research papers, when they're answering to the questions. How comfortable they are with the language that they have chosen to be their companion on the path to career. So that ease with language, that flair of English culture, that flair of English language, the sophistication, the politeness, okay, and the rhythmic nature that we always seek to enjoy is somewhere missing. If not absolutely, it is certainly declining. All the time I've been observing my teachers, my colleagues, my students who are also teachers right now. I'm more interested in the language that they use outside the classroom when they're talking to the students, because our students have this tendency to idealize their teachers, particularly the incidental learning that take place during these informal conversations and informal instructions, suggestions, and gossips. So somewhere all this put together, our English has come down to and, but, and so. It has flattened. In fact, we have flattened it. And there are numerous reasons known to all of us that the language that we are using right now has deteriorated beyond repair. I'm not saying we can't do anything. Of course, in the end, I'm going to share a couple of things that we can put into practice to mend it. Okay. So, for these reasons, I feel that the current status of English teachers and their English is rather flat, dull, and uninviting. So, what gives us confidence? So, that's the $1 million question. What gives us the confidence that we can teach English? Now, this is the question to all of us, including myself. What gives us this confidence that we can teach English to someone? Okay. Is it our paper qualifications that I have done my graduation, post graduation, okay, and made a B.Ed, MPhil, PhD? Is it that gives us the confidence? Is it our rigorous training in English language and literature that gives us that confidence? Or is it our linguistic and communicative competence that gives us this confidence? Now imagine a soldier. What gives a soldier the confidence to enter the battlefield, to risk his life? What gives a doctor confidence to operate his or her patient? I believe the common thread line is the rigorous training, wherein the criteria for rejection are far higher. And during these trainings, their trainers did not compromise with the quality. Somewhere, now this is my personal opinion, and there can be huge debate about it. There could be disagreements, and we can have a house open for discussions too. Somewhere deep down, I have this feeling that insofar as the training of students and teachers of English is concerned, it is not up to the mark. Seriously, it is not up to the mark. If I'm to put to test English teachers, these days I have this feeling that I can simply give them jokes published in Reader's Digest, whether they can laugh at those jokes. Right. So that's my contention. That's my argument that somewhere we are not providing rigorous training in terms of language and critical analysis of literary text, and as a result the overall scenario has come down to and, but, and so. I would go even further, and I have no hesitation in putting this on record, that PhD theses which have been uploaded on InflipNet and Shodhganga, a simple proofreading of those theses would expose us, would reveal the fact that before we could mend our grammar, we have been burdened with the degree of PhD. And if this continues, we are risking a generation of students and their cognitive abilities. Because if teaching of English doesn't take place the way it should be, it will be misteaching, or to use rather a degraded word, I would say it is cheating. So within this schema of things, I believe that somewhere we have taken it a little too far away. Before doing enough homework, we have entered the battlefield. We have taken up stethoscope and scissors to operate the patient who is in ICU for his or her operation. Shouldn't we take a pause, a serious philosophical pause of critical self-reflection, and let us look within and judge our own linguistic skills. By linguistic skills, uh, we are not simply limited to the grammatical norms and grammatical rules. Let me share my screen if I can do it right away. Dr. Udeshi, please tell me if you can see my screen.
Yes, sir. Please try it. Let me see that if you can.
Can you see it right away?
No, sir. I think it's not been possible.
All right, all right. Now let's drop this idea of using the screen. We can do anyway. Okay. So I was just saying that we have entered the field without enough training, without enough competence. What is this rigorous training and competence? What does that include? In other words, what should a good English teacher possess before he or she enters the field? Well, for the sake of everybody's understanding, I have listed a few points which I would like to share with you one after the other. The first and foremost is accuracy. Accuracy, by accuracy, I mean Germanic precision. Germans are known for their precision. Whatever they do, whatever they speak, whatever they write, whatever they, invent, they are extremely precise to the last inch. Okay. So when English teachers use English either in spoken or written variety, I believe the minimum expectation is that it is error free. Okay. So first and foremost is in our like bucket list or our bag of the soldier teacher is the sense of accuracy. I'll also speak about how to develop that accuracy. Second thing that I always look for when I go and listen to people and when I interact with them is their pronunciation. By pronunciation, of course, we are not the proponents of American or British pronunciations. We are simply expecting intelligible Indian pronunciations, wherein there is lesser influence of mother tongue, or it has been neutralized as naturally as possible. I have my serious doubts about 100% neutralization of mother tongue because at the level of phoneme, it does exist, and with today there are software available. We can easily detect such things. So first is accuracy, second is pronunciation, third is now we are exploring and expanding the circle of language, and now we are entering into the field of rhetoric, because language alone does not convey the best of our ideas. So the third thing I always feel that English teachers must have is the manner of unfolding the ideas. So it's here that their logical sequence and coherence come into picture. Okay. Fourth thing that I believe is that makes English rich, inviting, and really beautiful, and that is freshness. In English, they say sea freshness. When we go to the seashore and we are sitting in front of these incessant waves, we are not bored by them. So that's the sea freshness. When we listen to people, how many times do we realize, or how many times do we have those wow moments and we say, wow, uh, I mean, that person has that refined sense of language, and that person really knows the nuances of language and could navigate the way through, the nitty-gritty of those words and meanings and punches and those awe or sense of awe. Let me give you an example. I was with an elderly friend of mine, He was about 94 last year. And when I paid a visit to him, he was searching something. And he was, in fact, searching his pair of socks. And I could see that he was searching his pair of socks. So, and when he found that pair, I asked him, "What were you doing?" And he looked at me and he said with a flicker of smile on his face and said, "Some soul searching." That's what I say is freshness. It is completely unpredicted answer, and yet uh, he garnished that expression or that answer with that beautiful expression of some soul searching. So that's number four. Number five is variety. Variety is somewhere in our DNA. All of us hate monotony. All of us cannot live life of singularity. Plurality and variety are in nature and in our culture. Where does this variety in language come from? The problem with English teachers, particularly people who are obsessed with literature and literary theories, is that they only read literature and theory. And that's where they make a mistake of limiting vocabulary. When we limit our vocabulary, we limit our border or our boundaries of knowing so many things. So that's why personally, I like to read variety of books from variety of disciplines. For instance, from neurology, from artificial intelligence, from journalism, from political science, of course, history, spirituality, philosophy. Because these are not just domains of knowledge, but for me, the terminology used in these disciplines are the keys to open some of the cognitive areas of my brain. So when we read variety of literature, we develop that wonderful gamut of words, and that is where our language becomes beautiful, richer, and it attains the status of being fresh. Okay. So that's at number five. Number six is flow. When we use English sentences, the question is, do they really flow, or are we making efforts? Okay, as the users of English as second language, or some of us as foreign language, sometimes we have to make efforts. Of course, it takes times when it becomes completely effortless. And that's the ideal, in fact, for the teachers of English. Sometimes it is called fluency, but here by flow I mean lucidity. It may not be speed of speaking, it may not be absolute understanding of the language, but when you use English language, those people who know it will recognize that yes, these are not just chunks of translated phrases and sentences, but yes, these are real English sentences. So we need to develop that flow and that comfort with language. Seventh point that I feel we must have as part of our training is the art of composition. The very fabric of the prose that we are using should be artistic enough to appeal to the eyes and ears of our readers and listeners. Because when we use chunks and phrases and bits and pieces, we don't seem to create a larger picture of the idea that we are conveying through these words. Okay, so that art of composition is only possible when we are in constant context with people who are using such beautiful language, or at least essayists who have mastered the art of composition, beautiful composition. Number eight is clarity. I believe that the root of clarity is in purity, and root of purity is in surety. When you are damn sure about the accuracy part of your language, the pronunciation part of your language, the lucidity part of your language, freshness, then naturally, whatever you say becomes absolutely clear, neat and clean, with no vagueness involved, with no pretense involved, with nothing hidden under the pretext of something else. It is, hitting the head of the nail, okay, directly. So that clarity is something that we as English teachers need to develop. Sometimes we fall prey to wordiness. We use excessive words to convey little thing. Okay, probably that's why we often quote in the classroom that brevity is the soul of wit, but we hardly become, brief and terse. So that's number 8. Number 9 is, of course, the tonal quality. When we use words, they are not simply words, but a lot of our personality is embedded in those words. So if I'm arrogant through my words also. If I'm polite through my words also. So there's a lot of inner engineering that has to take place before we cook the recipe for success rather than recipe for disaster. Recipe for disaster is when our tones, our words, our meanings, our intentions, and our clarity go haywire. There is complete mismatch. And our students also notice all these aspects very, very minutely. Often, we retrospectively realize some of our teachers who used to bluff, some of them really took us on a garden path. They didn't teach us. Actually, they didn't teach us. They completed the syllabi, they gave us the exams, but they didn't teach us, they didn't coach us, they didn't train us the way we should have been trained. So I always have this complaint against my own teachers, and I often share with them too. So this tone is something that pours life into the words. 10th and last is probably the content part. It is not possible that a person has poor content and richer language. It is not possible. In order to have richer language, in order to have fresh variety of language, in order to have clear ideas, a person should have a great repository of ideas and originality of content. And for that, that person has to read. You may try this. Ask among your inner and outer circles of teachers of English, which are the 10 books they have read in last 6 months. And I bet you that 90% of your colleagues will not be able to complete the list of 10. Forget the detailings about the books, but they may not be able to even give the names of 10 books. If we are not uh, grasping words through our reading, there is no chance that we will be using those fresh expressions in our day-to-day conversations or in our classroom teaching. It's not possible. So content should be richer so that our students and our teachers would really enjoy our English. Now, I would give you a case of comparison. And with this, I make my second humble submission. Now, if you compare the teachers of English in schools and colleges, what is the difference? I have been training teachers to the length and breadth of Gujarat, and I have observed teachers teaching English in English medium schools, from government English medium schools to grantee-aid government schools to private English medium schools and so-called international schools too. And based on that experience, I'm saying that in school, they do not use good English. They resort to Hindi or maybe the mother tongue, whatever mother tongue they are using, very easily, with a poor apology as an excuse. What is the excuse? That the students cannot understand our English, so we have to stoop to their standards. Rather than uplifting the standards of the students, teachers very gloriously give this example, give this excuse that students don't understand. Our management is compelling us to use bit of Gujarati, not bit of Gujarati or not bit of mother tongue, but be bilingual, and that's why we are using it. But what is the backwash effect of that bilingualism on the quality of our English? That should be our personal inquiry. If we allow our English to be damaged, it's our choice and conscious choice. If we make our students raise their level gradually, bit by bit, I'm sure they will, because they come to school and colleges for learning. So in schools, teachers don't use good English. They do not write research papers on how to use good English. But interestingly, in college, teachers do not use good English either. Their English has, as I told you, is of flattened variety, and but and so. We can say that. You can make list of fillers that they use. It can be said that, we can say that, do you understand? Am I right? These are the list of a dozen of fillers that our teachers use. But they write long research papers on how to teach grammar, how to teach communication skills, how to enhance students' reading and writing skills, speaking skills, listening skills, and they have plethora of research papers and their uh, API indexes. So what I feel is that theorization in ELT is monstrously bigger than its actual practice. So that's a mismatch. And that mismatch is reflected in the very language that the college teachers of English use in their informal conversations and in social media. Social media is the biggest leveler. If you visit social media, and it could be a good case study also, you may pick up chunks from the posts that teachers of English post, and just look at the basic criteria: grammatical correctness, okay, use of, subject verb agreements, singular, plural, simple criteria, and see that person's post, and that person's, by post I mean responsibility. So there I feel we fail publicly, we fail miserably, and we fail beyond repair. And that's where no rules of the government would ever make us, or would ever take us to the level we should be. It is only a personal journey. I would consider it as a philosophic and spiritual journey. A person has to see himself or herself eye to eye in the mirror and ask these fundamental questions about, what am I doing to my students? Am I on the right path? Am I going in the right direction like that tree? So what is to be done? Now in India, we have this issue of identifying the problems and talking about it and crying out loudly about it, lamenting about it, and then we do nothing about it. But my third humble submission is, what could be done about this scenario? How to improve our own English? And I've been doing these experiments on myself, and from the I'm sorry. From past many years, I've been seeing my own limitations and weaknesses, and I can see that these things have worked out for me. You may try this. If they work out for you, it would be greater. If they don't work out for you, you may find out better solutions and you may share back. And I'll also try with myself. So I recommend three things for improving the quality of English then and overall love for language. So first thing I recommend is reading of philosophy. I told you earlier too that the problem with English teachers is we just read English novels and theories about criticism. We hardly go beyond humanities. So we need to read philosophy, and there are categorical reasons for why I am saying this. Reason number one is philosophy challenges our own perspective. Philosophy compels us to rethink and question everything that is given to us. All the given constructs should be deconstructed. So that ability is created when we read philosophy. Otherwise, it is not possible. Philosophy makes us ask questions. Second thing that philosophy does is it enables us to see the apparently disconnected dots. There are always dots which are which are apparently not connected, but when we read philosophy, we begin to see through things, and that ability makes us more and more accurate, more and more aware of the impact of words we use on the outer worlds and in the inner worlds. Third thing that philosophy does is it provides us clarity of thoughts. I think the one of the biggest things that we are missing is this clarity. Once we have this clarity about what is what of English, I'm sure resources are not a big problem these days. In fact, we are flooded with resources. There is no dearth of resources at any level, either in school or colleges. So that's number one. Second thing is philosophy makes us differentiate between truth and perceived truths. So there is a huge difference, and when we are dealing with language, we should be able to differentiate from the words whether these words are conveying actual truths or perceived truths. Okay, so gradual reading of philosophy enables us to do that very effectively. Second thing I recommend is paraphrasing legal documents. I believe that this should be one of the language activities mandatory for all the courses of English from grade 5th to maybe masters in English, because legal documents are the only documents, or legal language is the only language wherein there's extreme precision. Okay, you can't move a word here and there, and when you try to paraphrase them, it will suck life out of you. You will feel completely perspired, and you will feel like you are in front of the dead tunnel. So that exercise is required. That burning of midnight oil is required when we paraphrase legal documents. It's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult. You may simply take out a chapter of Constitution and try to paraphrase it. See what happens. After paraphrasing, compare both the compositions, both the sentence structures, all the parameters, all the 10 parameters that we discussed, right? And see what happens. So when we paraphrase legal documents, it gives us an understanding of what taut and clear prose is. Okay, we need that kind of prose. Something that I was referring to when I mentioned composition. Second is to examine the relationship between words and meanings. In literature, we take liberty with the connotative meanings, with the denotative meanings, and we have other semiotic meanings also. But in legal language, you need to adhere to the fixed range of meanings. So again, here your quality of being precise with language is really enhanced. Third thing is, of course, something that is needed very much this time than it was before is paraphrasing legal documents makes us politically correct. We learn this art of how to be politically correct every time. And that political correctness is not just for the political safety, it is also for the clarity of thoughts and taking a stand. So that's why I always use this as a kind of my linguistic diet. Okay, I go when I'm on linguistic diet, I take up these challenges and try to work out my ways with these legal documents. Third and last of the suggestions is translation. Now you must be wondering, should every English teacher translate? My question is, are you not translating? All English teachers are by default translators in India. We are burdened with so many kinds of translations, at times government letters, at times of personal requests, at times messages, emails, and on the phone services that we provide, right? So in that sense, English teachers are very generous. But here I'm talking about serious translation. Why? Because translation is the sharpest tool to explore language in its totality. If you want to understand language in its totality, you need to translate. There is no other way. Gayatri Chakraborty Spivak once said that translation is the closest reading of the text. In literature, at times we read a text with certain approach, with certain framework. So whatever we choose, that would be biased. But in translation, of course, there are translators' biases. However, these are fewer biases, and translator has to be very, very, apt and accurate in when he or she embarks upon the journey of translation. Second thing that translation does is it is an epistemological inquiry. It enhances our sense of knowing. It enhances our sense of learning about the words and about the concepts for which these words are used. So that is the source from which all the qualities of good English users come from. Okay, that inquiry about knowing words and their concepts. Third thing that translation does it gives a chance to access unexplored areas of the brain, because it's not always that we use all the parts of the brain. It is when we translate, we need to knock the doors of some of the closed rooms of our brain when we take up translating, let's say, legal documents and so many other aspects. Well, finally, I have some questions, then we may have some discussions. I'm just reading out 6 questions, and then we will close this session, and I'll ask Dr. Udeshi to take it forward for the discussion. So first question is for all the teachers, is that when we use language, first question we need to ask to ourselves is, am I sure what each word I use really means? Am I sure? That's the question. Second question, have I found the exact word or just settled for the near synonym? Okay. And we are unaware of the fact that we take recourse to near synonyms. We need to read people like P.G. Woodhouse to see the art of using exact word for exact feelings or exact ideas. Third is, am I trying to impress my students or am I trying to communicate with them? Am I trying to impress my listeners by using some jargon, some technical words, some bombastic words? Or are my intentions clear enough that I want to convey this message? I want to convey this fact or this knowledge. Okay. Fourth question is, have I consulted any thesaurus? When we are writing something, we hardly, in fact, I am unable to see a copy of thesaurus on the desk of English teachers. Previously, I noticed that many teachers used to keep a huge dictionary, and this doesn't mean that they are using it online, okay, because that's not reflected from the language that they're using thesaurus. Fifth question is, what are the key terms of my argument and narration? Have I listed them down? Do I know? Am I aware of the vocabulary I'm using? The field that I'm talking about. Sixth is, am I happy with my own writing? And how do I know that this is the level I wanted to go? Have I consulted other people? Have I shared my writing with others? Or I'm happy go lucky with my own sense of, I know, completeness, and I want to celebrate my accomplishments as an English scholar. Last is, have I edited my draft at least 3 times? Or am I making all the mistakes for the first time in public? Right. So these are some of the questions. As I told you, these are all my raw and uncooked ideas that I've just shared. I am also sharing names of the 4 books that will, you will enjoy reading them. They will help you grow as a good user of English. First is called Oxford Essential Guide to Writing by Thomas S. Kane. I repeat, Oxford Essential Guide to Writing by Thomas S. Kane. Second is a very famous book, and all the English teachers always recommend this book to the students, is The Elements of Style by William Strunk Jr. Third is A Sentence a Day. This is a book about proofreading. Okay, the mistakes we make about punctuations, about usages. Beautiful book, beautiful book. It's pictorial also, and on one page there are only 2 sentences, and you need to just do 1 sentence a day. So it is by Samantha Proust. Fourth book is very interesting title. Listen to it very carefully. Do I make myself clear while writing well? It's by Harold Evans. These are the 4 books. I'm sure you will get these books online, both in physical and PDF formats. So with this, I rest my case, and I hope I knocked the doors. And I believe that's the job of all the seekers like me who are on the path of learning something, to question the status quo. And I tried in my own limited ways, in my limited understanding. With this, I fall silence. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for this wonderful talk of yours. That you made an eye-opening statements and the suggestions and even some of the recommendations that you did. I think this would be quite helpful to each and every teacher who is teaching English to various stages of their life. Okay. I would request, sir, if you can share your screen. I think it would be possible to share your screen to just highlight those 4 books, okay, that you just spoke recently. I think that would be possible now.
Let me see that. Is it possible? Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir. We are able to see your screen now. Okay. We are able to see your screen. So I think if that would be the case, that anywhere down the line, people are watching this video again, they can at least see the few of the things that are be there. Okay.
All
Very
right, we
good
are
presentation,
simply.
but unfortunately, the technical glitch it went into. Okay, yes, dear viewers, these are the few useful books that what sir was talking about. Okay, and we can definitely go through it to rather be better teachers then. Okay, yes, sir, you were saying something. I'm so sorry, I just interrupted you.
No, I was just requesting to Dr. Khan and to you, if you have some questions, I'll be more than glad to respond to, if not answer to those questions.
Yes, sir. We have definitely told to the viewers that if you have any questions, you may please put in front of us. It would be better, and sir would be happy to answer your questions. But I must read few comments that we have come across, sir. It was by one of the teachers, Wasim Qureshi, sir. It says that always love to listen to Vishal Bhadani. I think you can see on the screen also. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Komal mentions that those are the relevant matters that you are talking about. Megha Trivedi was looking for the valid points that you were just discussing with all of us. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Megha, Komal, and Wasim sir for all the sharings. I believe we are sailing in the same boat, and somewhere we need to pedal harder and smarter to carry this boat to the shore.
Yes, sir. Dear viewers, if you have any questions, please put in front of us.
Kindly, Dr. Khan could
Before
join us,
Yes,
the
sir.
viewers were putting down their points, sir, I do have a question.
please.
Not rather question, but I'm curious to know that. Sir, is it necessary that when we are into the classroom, okay, and we as teachers, for example, are speaking in front of students or rather teaching our students, can we know from the students' non-verbal communication that we are bombarding with the words, or are we on the off track with the points? Is it possible to know from their point of view?
So I think before we know from them,
Yes.
uh, our inner self tells us whether we are using these words for what purpose. So I think Gandhi was absolutely right when he was exploring this whole idea about interacting with people. He always thought, and I consider Gandhi as the best communicator, because whenever his intentions failed, he always introspected. He thought that if my intentions failed, it means my words failed, it means I did something wrong. Okay, so it is, I think, a serious concern for our own self, and when we are clear, I believe we will communicate clearly.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. This was just a kind of a curious question that I was getting into. I think the viewers would be just typing their messages, and the post is on. That is,
Yeah, but
questions
like
are
I want to
invited.
know,
I
I
don't
want
mind
to,
if
I want to, yeah, I want to know from Dr. Khan and to you also that I
Yes,
did
sir.
not
Yes, sir.
conduct, yeah, I did not conduct any research about this, and I didn't have any empirical data on my claims. But I want to know from you whether you share the feelings that I have right now about the status of English language of the English teachers. Whether do you share that or not?
Yeah,
yes, sir. We
I would
have.
like to add. Yeah, Hardik, please go on.
Yes, please go on, sir. I don't mind.
Well, first of all, I'm so sorry that I couldn't join because of some technical hitch. And I just formally welcome Vishal sir, and we are very fortunate to have him in this wonderful talk. Uh, so far, this topic is concerned, English of English teachers. I think this is the need of an hour. I, as an English teacher, feel that first we need to enlighten ourselves as English teachers and as teachers, first of all. And yes, sir, you rightly observed that there are so many gaps which need to be filled. And there are so many things which need to be done yet. For example, there are so many research works which are getting dust in the bookshelves. And there are so many theses. I personally think that the PhD research and MPhil researches are there. But who goes and looks at, and who goes and sees that which pedagogies are used and which methods are used and how should one teach? We just go to the classrooms and just start the our period, and we just open the books and we start in the stereotype methods. People hardly think outside the box, and language plays a very important role so far as teaching English is concerned. I, as a teacher, feel that teaching is a different process and teaching English is altogether a different skill. Because when we teach English to the students whose first language happens to be Gujarati or any other than English, we really need to understand their mentality, their psychology, their culture. For example, in my case, I am teaching English to the rural areas students whose base is very poor, as we normally believe. And when they come to me, I request my principal that, sir, you please give me this class from ninth grade. Otherwise, I am supposed to teach to 11th and 12th. But when I approach the students from ninth grade, I can understand their level of understanding, the level of reading, and so on. And sir, you won't believe that when I start my class in ninth grade, I ask few students to read English, sir, they just stand up and they poorly say, sir, મને અંગ્રેજી નથી આવડતું વાંચતા અથવા લખતા નથી આવડતું. This is what they say. And at that time, we really feel that as a teacher, we need to do a lot, sir.
True.
And last and second point is, which I would like you also to throw some light on, that we normally focus on completing syllabus in the given time limit, sir. And we have to prepare the students for examination. So far this lecture is concerned, I was to mention this line in the beginning of the talk, that in the classroom we prepare the students to prepare for examinations. Real learning happens outside the four walls of classrooms. And this is the purpose with which we have begun this small venture of English language and literature studies. I, as a student, have seen my teachers speaking on the dais, and that is what had inspired me to speak in English, to read English, to go for literature, and so on. Hardik is witness. We have shared our PhD and MPhil batch together. And we have seen our teachers, even in PG and UG, Dr. Smita Nagrecha, my teacher, who used to motivate us a lot for seminars and conferences. So, sir, this topic which you suggested, and that's why I had given full freedom to Vishal, sir, to suggest the topic. So normally we suggest the topics to the speakers, but I fall really short to suggest the topic to Vishal, sir, and I congratulate Vishal, sir, that he took up this topic, English of English teachers. So I think that, sir, there are so many things to be done. There are so many gaps to be filled. And I hope that this talk will definitely motivate the teachers and the students to do more in that area. And with this note, sir, I thank you. I thank all my viewers. I thank Dr. Hardik Udeshi, Dr. Shabir Parmar, who very well coordinated this entire talk. And I once again, sir, I'm so sorry that I couldn't join due to technical hitch. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I really enjoyed it.
No worries, Dr. Khan. I think with this outbreak of Corona, I think we have learned, and what Sir says, we have unlearned the things many times, and now we are again learning it. Right? Yes, sir. As you rightly put the question in front of us, yes, we do share the feelings, dear sir. At times, I think my students would know that I go to their level and I take them to my level also. Many times when I'm teaching, specifically, many students say that, sir, your subject, we would not find it difficult to understand. I have introspected, because being a student, when you are a student, you do think that your teachers teach you in such a manner that you understand. But then we have to raise their level also, right? So I go with both the perspectives, that they should raise at my level also, and I should go at their level also, so that it would be a balanced work that we can go with it. And the question that I put in front of you, at times I do really feel that, because their non-verbal communication makes me feel that, am I bombarding the things? Or am I making the relevant of the topic, or am I giving the relevance to the topic, and I'm going on well? So yes, sir, we do share that platform, not only with the students, even we share, and we have 8 teachers into our department, and usually in our free time, we do share our merits and demerits, and even some of the experiences of ours, what happened in the classroom sometimes. It would be sometimes that student would be asking you a question out of the blue also, right? And you need to answer at times. That's how we, and that's why they title us as the teachers, right? So that's how it is. Yes, dear sir, we are thankful to you. And let me tell you, dear sir, this group has not been now just for the English teachers. If the comment can be seen by Dr. Arvindam Nair, he is a senior professor of physics in Christ College. Okay, and he says that fine comments, And good evening to all. Nice talk. Congratulations to Dr. Vishal Bhadani. Okay, so see, even now we are moving beyond the boundaries what we were thinking of. Okay. Yes, Utpal sir says that many of the points raised in the session echo experience of all teachers as well. I do appreciate and second your bold statement. The theorization in the field of ELT exceeds its practice. A well delivered session covering many issues that are taken for granted. Thank you very much. There's a question by Alpa Ponda. Okay. What can an English teacher do to fill the gap in teaching between 12th and FYBA English? As the objective of 12th standard English and FYBA English are different. Sir.
All right. So we need to understand two bigger frameworks. One is the school framework, the other is the tertiary framework. The school framework is textbook based framework, and the tertiary framework, the college framework, is based on reference book. So we need a bridge between textbook and reference book. So that's where I believe that an initiative is required wherein first year students are introduced with workbooks, wherein gradually they are shifted from textbook to reference book. So from, let's say there are 10 chapters. So first chapter is absolutely based on textbook, and gradually we move towards use of reference books. So that could be one of the approaches. Second is, it's not an easy task of one English teacher. So policy should be streamlined. We need a group of teachers who agree at least 70-80% on this call, that yes, we need to address this issue. So only with the collective efforts we can address this issue. And third is that we need to go scientific about it. For instance, let's say in the first year BA course, students from so many different schools come. So you have a great heterogeneity in the classroom in terms of their level of understanding. So first is we need to know by diagnostic test for who stands where. And then we need to customize our approaches according to their needs. So that's where ESP, English for Specific Purposes, and the research in that field comes into picture. Unless we use these scientific approaches, these issues will remain. I hope that they don't go worse for next 2 decades. Okay, at least next 2 decades, because after these 2 decades, certainly technology will play a huge role in the language teaching and learning processes. So these are some of my 2 minutes Maggie responses. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Arvindam sir states that. Thank you, dear Dr. Hardik. Okay. I'm privileged that sir, you were.
Yeah, last thing I want to, it reminded me suddenly, and I don't miss the chance to mention that. Once there was a conference in Department of English and Comparative Literary Studies, Saurashtra University. This was the time when Dr. A.K. Singh had just left the department and I think had joined KCG or Baba Saheb Ambedkar University. And it was a valedictory function. Dr. Mukherjee was, proposing the vote of thanks, and Dr. Singh was sitting on the dais. Something Dr. Mukherjee said about Dr. Singh, I can quote it verbatim. What he quoted with tears in his eyes was that, "Sir, please come and haunt us in our dreams." He said, "Sir, please come in our dreams and haunt us." It has been 10 years now. I've been thinking about that single statement during number of occasions. I have read almost everything from Dr. Singh. What Dr. Singh gave as a legacy is the art of questioning. So and there are many such teachers who gave us this legacy. So it is now our responsibility to take this further. Now we must make our students rebellious intellectuals rather than just parrots. And they'll become rebellious intellectuals only through our examples. There is no preaching about it. Dr. Singh led by an example, and we can see many students who were trained under remarkably outstanding students of Dr. Singh. So I believe we need such sessions to question the status quo, to open up the wound and repair it, and to sit with the issues, discuss, debate, and have samvad about it. And somewhere we will reach to the destination that we all share as the ideal. I'm sorry if I've taken a longer time, but I thought it was significant to mention this here.
No, sir. No, thank you very much. That your every input has been kind of a remark to all of us, sir. And we would definitely keep, because we also keep on recollecting our teachers' ideas, their words, and not only to our fraternity but to our students too. That we say that our teachers used to say that. Okay, so I, being a teacher of undergraduation and specifically with UG students of English, I do share with them that these are the things which my teachers used to share. So you too can take up into the legacy. Yes, sir. Is there anyone who wishes to have any question? We would definitely like to take up the
Do you
question.
have any? Yes, I would like to request Vishal sir to keep giving his sincere suggestions to us, because sir, this is ELLS is just a tiny fruit of the huge tree that our teachers have grown, like Professor Avdesh Kumar Singh, Professor Kamal Mehta, Professor Mukherjee, and Professor Jala. I would like to give the credit of all these efforts of English language and literary studies to our teachers, sir. And this is just tiny efforts, and I am thankful to you that you invited you. I'm so emotional that I can't get the words, but I'm so thankful to you, sir, that you accepted my invitation completely on an honorary basis, and you delivered this wonderful talk, sir. So much thanks to you. But sir, if you have any suggestions for us, because we are just toddlers, and I personally believe myself that we are still students, we are still learners, and we make so many mistakes, so many errors, but that's how we learn, sir, and that's how we grow. And I would like to request to you that please stay with us for a long time, and we would like to invite you in next so many sessions. And please keep giving your sincere suggestions. And I know the worth of your time, sir. I know that your schedule and your engagements, your talks all around the Gujarat and outside Gujarat, but you accepted this invitation without any formality. This is just such a noble gesture, sir, from your side. And on behalf of English Language and Literary Studies, all the members and viewers, Dr. Shabir Parmar, I think because of some technical hitch again, he has not been able to join us. Otherwise, he was to deliver the vote of thanks. He is, sir, our core committee member. Dr. Hardik Udeshi is also our core committee member. So on behalf of both these core committee members and viewers, sir, I sincerely extend the sincere sense of gratitude to you. And if you have any suggestions, if you have any message for us, if you have any message for our viewers for future talks or any suggestions, sir, so I would like to have that. Thank you.
No, thank you. I'm too small to suggest anything. Just keep unlearning. That's it.
So that always reminded me, because you have been my guide, as I said earlier also, that it was the brainchild of Vishal sir, who told me that you can work on these areas. And I know that it was late evening, and with him I was sitting and saying that, sir, please suggest me now. I wanted to work on some areas like this way. And he did that. There also he stated that keep unlearning. Sir, still as you stated that that word still haunt my mind. And whenever I was writing down the thesis even, okay, it was the same thing. Because going throughout the nights. At times it was be 2 o'clock at night, 3 o'clock early morning, and still I would be writing. But yes, sir, your suggestions, your insights, your observations have always helped us to grow. As what rightly Dr. Khan stated, please be with us so that we can grow. Thank you very much, sir, on my behalf also and from the team of ELLS, that we were fortunate enough to have a talk from your side, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. You are all kind enough. Thank you so much. Thank you.